Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
Hey guys, and welcome to Criminality Podcast, the podcast where we know that loving reality TV and all the juicy, gross details, I mean, they're great, that come with it are here, and we like them.
Yeah. Oh my
right?
gosh. Yeah.
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 Thank you for, reaffirming me there because I really got lost.
I was like on the edge of my seat, like, but no, we for sure do, Melissa. I'm so happy to be here. It's disgusting pouring rain. I know it is in Florida too. It's fun. We're having the same weather. We don't need to talk about it, but I was at the DMV, so just my day could only get better, right?
Ooh. If it helps, I spent half the day writing letters to like TransUnion and all those places my daughter's identity got stolen.
That's right.
And so
we had very bureaucratic days with terrible weather.
And rainy and ending with rain. Mm-hmm.
Okay, this episode, it can suck and it will be amazing compared to the day we have, but it's not going to because it's yours and I know it's going to be great.
Oh, well, no pressure. Rebecca, what has been good on TV lately? Like what reality TV? Are you still liking The Valley? I haven't watched the latest episode. But
you didn't? So, okay, so this will come out. Yeah, so the new episode was just last night. I hate to say it, but it is not bad.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you didn't like it because I'm already all in.
No, it's very watchable. And, for old, boring people, and listen, by old, I mean my age and younger.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. Oh, thanks for the birthday wishes, everybody, by the way. Oh. It was so nice. And Melissa got me the most fun housewife-related fun gifts that I'm going to have to wear and put on Instagram. Yeah, these people are young, but old. They're pretty good on TV. Like,
yeah.
But they're miserable. And, when you're miserable and you put a camera in front of you, like stuff comes out that you can't control. And I think they all thought it was going to look really cool to be them. Yeah. And it just looks so miserable.
I just find myself saying, I'm glad I'm not you. I'm glad I'm not you.
Mm-hmm. And I think like just trying to make the Valley seem cool. That party last episode where they did the carnival, the county fair for Janet, and they had a tattoo artist. I was so secondhand embarrassed.
What
like,
on
why?
earth? That is my nightmare.
I think it's a fun idea at a party. I mean, it doesn't seem particularly sanitary. I would never get a tattoo in a home that Jax lives in. Like,
sure.
Just would, like open up my skin pores to the atmosphere. But I love the idea of going to a party and getting a tattoo.
Okay.
I hated that it was like a family party during the day. It made no sense.
I would need to know about it ahead of time.
100%.
I would need 1 year to plan it and to stay committed to my idea. So there's that. So I'm not a good person for that. But I do like the idea. I think it could be fun, but I'd need notice. I can't just go there and be like,
toddlers running around and in their kitchen with the theme. It's like
and the carnival didn't make any sense.
Carnival theme and tattoos is like the worst combination.
Well, actually, it kind of goes together if you've been to enough carnivals. I do feel like I
Okay,
am
that's-
amongst my people, and a lot of them are tattooed.
Okay, that's
so that
fair.
part does make sense, but
That's fair. That's fair. But I'm tattooed as well, and I mean, I do love a county fair, so
I love a county fair. But I don't have any tattoos. I'm going to one
I
day.
just thought it like
a
reeked
year.
of like people clinging to being cool, and it just was embarrassing. You know, it's just like, oh, we're cool. We have like our kids and tattoo artists, and we're drinking during the day. I'm like, none of this is cute or cool.
Yeah. But
and it's
watchable.
But
Very
so
watchable.
watchable. Yeah, I find the people on the show pretty dynamic, and the husbands are not great. Most of them, or maybe just that one.
I think it's the one, and it feels like all of them.
It
The other
does-
ones I think are at least okay.
They're pretty benign
mid.
so far. Yeah. Yeah. And then Kristen. Ooh.
I keep
Last
saying-
night, I can't wait till you watch it, because it's as bad as it could get in terms of Kristen trying to be
I got so
self-aware.
excited.
And
that
failing.
the idea of Kristen's low is just my high.
It's so low, and it's so low of production to keep it in. Like, you'll
Even
see
better.
after you watch, and anyone who watched knows exactly the scene I'm talking about. Wow. Really bad.
I can't
love it.
wait.
Loving
So
it.
we're apparently Valley heads. So
Yeah, I
let
guess
us
so.
know what you guys think about that. Rebecca, I'd like to change gears just a
Let's
little
do
bit
it.
with today's
Yeah.
episode. So the clues I had were TLC, carpentry, and bus, maybe?
That's right.
Okay. I did not remember that. You were able to find that and help us both out because we did not remember. So, from there, here we go. You knew who it was right away. I'm not going to get into who it is, but you knew who
I
it was
did,
right
and
away.
I was excited.
Yes. Okay, good. And we love trash TV, as we're talking with the Valley. That's like our thing.
Yeah.
Duh. End of
Yeah.
sentence, period. But sometimes, Rebecca, you need a feel-good show.
Really do.
And thankfully for every housewife flipping a table, there's a show with people struggling and other people coming to help them, and this sense of community, and you can just feel good in the moment. Of course, this comes in many forms, whether it's fixing your life, fixing your home, or even fixing your face. The late 90s and early 2000s were all about making changes. And when I think of fixing or renovating something, there's only one man I look to. Mr. Frosted Tips himself, Mr. Ty Pennington.
Pennington. Yes.
I'm excited for you because this does feel like your lane a little bit. So I did feel like I might have been stepping on some toes to get here. But
No.
what are your feelings on Ty, whose birth name is either Tygert Burton or Gary Tygert Pennington?
What? I didn't know that. That's
Tygert.
funny. I took him to be a Tyler for sure.
Yeah. yeah. Big
He
Tyler
seems like an
vibes.
early generation Tyler. So look, I mean, Tyler's a beloved figure. First introduced, I think, on Trading Spaces.
You did
right?
call him Tyler, but yes.
I mean, Ty. See, he is a Tyler to me. Yeah, Ty. I feel like he's pretty beloved. He's goofy.
Very.
I think in the whatever years that show. Well, we're going to be talking about Extreme Home Makeover. You know, the peak of his career. I think he got kind of edited into being a hot person, but he's not actually.
Okay, take that back. We are going to disagree because I found him in
You find
the
him
early
attractive?
aughts to be, not now, I've seen a recent picture, but at the time, I feel like he's holding on to youth too much. He could be on the Valley, I think.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was like, who is this hot man?
Really?
And why is he building things? Yeah.
See, I found it to be like his charm, quirks, and personality that added to his appeal. Like I got the appeal, but I don't think he was standalone handsome.
Well, we'll see what you think by the end of this, or at least the next few
I
minutes.
can't wait. And I know that there was like a scuff with the law, but I don't know tons of details. But I certainly loved like his demeanor on set, how he was with families, and like what he added to the
Yeah.
show. I thought he was great.
Absolutely. So before, though, Ty became a part of our brains and maybe our hearts, and by that I mean only my heart on this show.
No, I'm sure people agree.
Ty's born in Atlanta, Georgia, back in 1965. His parents separated when he was pretty young. Yeah, he's almost 60.
Wow, that makes me feel old. And
It should. It made me feel old as well.
oh, wow.
And I even saw the year he was born and then saw a quote later of him saying, and when I'm turning 60, and I was like, cool story, bro. But it was the next year that he turned 60. So a moment of silence for him and for us.
Yeah. Oof. Okay.
So Ty's parents separate when he's young. His mom gets remarried, and he ends up having his stepdad adopts both himself and his brother and raises him with his mom.
Okay.
So his mom's name is Yvonne, and she goes to school to become a psychologist. And she works very hard during this time to help support her family. And in high school, as you mentioned, Ty's dynamic personality, he was a bit much in school. He eventually is diagnosed with ADHD.
You could see that.
Not a shocker, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he had to have been one of the first people of the time to have
Seriously.
been diagnosed, or just like a more obvious case, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be mean. Literally listen to the
No.
next thing I say. I know, but I'm like, my kid has it.
Isn't mean.
Everybody has it.
I know.
But it did help Ty and his mom understand some of these problems he was having in school and the trouble he was having in school. And speaking of trouble, when Ty was in grade school, his mom, is finishing up her degree, and she goes to the school and says, part of my schooling, can I test really the worst kid you have in the school? And imagine her shock and horror when her son walks into the office.
That's an amazing story.
Isn't it so good?
Yeah.
But it really does give you an idea of they're like, lady, finally, here's our chance.
Yes, seriously, you asked.
Help us. Yes. I love that. So we know Ty as being a builder, and really not much has changed. As a kid, he would spend a ton of time, as you'd imagine, taking things apart, putting them back together. And he developed this early love of woodworking. He felt like it helped him focus.
Wow.
And he even built a 3-story treehouse in his neighborhood when he was a kid of some age. I mean, that could be up to 18, but
That's so cool.
3-story. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
It's impressive.
So Ty goes on to graduate high school. He studies art and sculpture at Atlanta College of Art. And during this time, to help fund his studies, he ends up sharpening his skills. He's working construction and landscaping to pay these bills. So he's really always been working towards this goal that he didn't really know he had. He, like I said, he was doing art and sculpture. He, it sounds like that would be the way he was going. And here's my next line, so I hope you regret everything you've said. Ty was also a grade A hottie, is what I called him.
Wow.
And I'm going to have to show you something. And he found minor success in modeling and acting.
Okay, so I'm it's me. I'm the problem. It's fine. I'm the minority.
No, I feel like I'm coming down really hard on you, but I really always thought he was attractive.
Clearly.
So he appears in ads for Swatch, Levi's, J. Crew. That is a hot
I agree.
one.
I agree. Those models are consistently top notch.
And this is audio medium, so I'm not going to show it to you now, but Google J. Crew Ty Pennington on your own.
No, I want to right now.
Please do. We need a real-time reaction.
I'm not being fair. It's hard because all I see is
body.
You know what it is? No, the body, the face is cute. I think it's how he does his hair. That was not appealing to me. It was too spiky.
It was the times, man.
It was the times. You're right. It's not fair. It's
not fair.
Harsh. God forbid someone pulls out my early aughts photo and is
I've seen pictures of you when you were little. You were adorable and always in style for the time, so I don't want to hear it. But beyond J. Crew, he was also in some commercials, and one of those ran during the Grammys back in 1994. Oh. Rebecca, I'm going to send you this. We'll just play a clip on the show, but tell me when you see it.
Amazing.
Your boy's a Diet Coke, babe. And by that, I mean mine is.
That's the dream. Also, that was a very music heavy commercial. Made sense for it to be on the Grammys. I don't remember that Diet Coke commercial, but that was amazing. And he did a great job.
He did. And like you said, he did a great job. And he does an amazing job of catching a Diet Coke in one hand and looking at the camera and then walking off screen.
Sounds easy, but honestly, I don't think I could do it.
He sold it. I was like, where is the Diet Coke? I need one. But to be fair, that's me all day.
Every day.
So acting wasn't really his thing, although he does go on to appear in the 2003 film The Adventures of O.C. Nash. It's spelled O-C-I-E-E. I looked it up on IMDb. I didn't really know anyone, so we're going to continue unless you saw it. So then in 2000, Ty catches his big break. It combines his love of carpentry with his big personality and turns it into a huge career. And that's when Ty joined the ranks of TLC's Trading Spaces. Rebecca, I know you have big opinions on Trading Spaces, and we'd love to hear them.
I think that's the show my mom and I watched together the most of every show we've ever watched. Like, I think that was like our show. What years was that running? I mean,
it started in 2000, or at least he came on in 2000. I think it went on for like 17 years or something.
Yeah, that was a long running show. Yeah, I mean, the crimes of this story could be what some of those designers did to people's homes. But I always was tuning in. I had my favorite designers, Genevieve Gorder.
Yes.
I saw her in Florida, actually, when I was on
Really?
vacation there in some like fancy restaurant. And I was like starstruck. She's so beautiful. And I think she's super talented. But yeah, I loved that show. I loved that show.
It was so fun, right? Especially if it's not happening to you, because some of these
Why did
horrific
people sign up for this? I mean,
that
maybe
I don't
like
understand.
25% turned out okay. And like some designers were consistently good, but it seems like some were just on there to like wreak havoc in your home.
I know
Like
which one you're
feathers
talking about.
on walls and sand on floors. Why?
I know. Because Hildy, that's why.
Hildy.
Hildy.
And also like the literal expressions of a theme. Like I would never, if we went on that show, I would not let my kids say anything they liked because they take one little thing like soccer and suddenly everything's a black and white circle and a ball.
The other show we talk about later, I think they even do it to a bigger degree. And you just think, you know what you like the color blue. That's it. The rest of your life, you like the color blue because that's what they're doing here.
I like neutral and organized.
Yes.
Is what I would say.
That's what you would need to say on the show. And so if you haven't watched Trading Spaces before, if this is new to you, it's actually an adaptation of the British show called Changing Rooms, which isn't it always? And it becomes a colossal hit for TLC. And if you aren't familiar with the premise, it's basically there's two sets of neighbors. They get $1,000 budget and a deadline of 3 days to trade spaces. They are redecorating one room in each other's houses. You don't get to pick which room it is. You don't get to pick the design. And I read later that even the people, like if I went to your house to design and you said, Melissa, do not put hay on my walls. If they already picked hay for your walls, it was going to happen. Yeah, it was already like pre-bought. So like you really didn't have any choice. So from 2000 to 2003, Ty is the head carpenter on the show, and he becomes a beloved part of the cast, which is a juxtaposition to Hildy, who is an absolute agent of chaos. Where did she come from? Like, I saw a clip today where she designed a room or, worked with them on a room, and there was a mural made of tiles with her face. Why would somebody want to look at Hildy during lunch?
It had to have been like a ploy, like a stunt. They were like, we need one designer who doesn't care about their like professional reputation to just cause chaos and, drama. So people will tune in and it must have been Hildy because how else could you explain this?
It was Hildy. So speaking of Hildy, the neighbors work with the designers. So like Hildy will come in and then Ty's your carpenter and they talk about the designs and like what this person doesn't want, what they do want. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. They also had Genevieve Gorder as one of the designers, as you mentioned. Love her. Doug Wilson. I don't remember him as much.
I do remember Doug.
Yeah, there's a few.
He could do a good job, yeah.
Yeah. You'd rather him over Hildy. As soon as Hildy walked into the house, you'd be like, well, I don't have friends anymore. These people are going to hate
You're
me.
dead to me.
Yeah. Absolutely. And of course, they had their bubbly host, Paige Davis.
Yeah, not a fan. Sorry.
I know. And while the show worked for several reasons, it kind of needed Paige, though, because in real life, I could not take Paige's bubbly personality all the time, but there were so many breakdowns, and she was really like literally would hook arms with people as they would see their rooms, and like kind of helped. I think she's the reason people didn't just like start punching people,
punch walls too. Yeah, I agree. That would be a tough job when this woman's gonna cry. She's gonna open her eyes, and we have just like ruined the center
Life.
of her home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean,
yeah.
truly. And of course, it needed somebody like Ty, who's boisterous, positive,
Yeah.
up for anything. And of course, we did need Hildy because we need a villain. And Hildy is
Conflict.
that villain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there are many rooms that are absolutely horrific on this show. From one of my favorites, which is where the adults asked for a more adult living room, meaning like, we have small kids. We don't want kid stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And Hildy takes it upon herself to slam hay on their walls that you could pick off. And I later found out their kids were taking it and choking on it off of the walls.
But what was adult about hay on the walls? That doesn't even make sense.
They don't bother to ask Hildy after this. She just goes off, probably rides a broomstick right out of there and goes on to the next place. Somebody else's life to ruin. But one of my favorite fails, this is terrible, but it's this next one. And it's really just the reaction in the background that you'll hear. So you don't need visual for this, but oh my gosh.
I can't wait. This is such a throwback.
Pam and John were clear in their wish to have their fireplace untouched, but Doug felt it needed a new look to pull the whole room together. Pam and John couldn't disagree more.
We are in the room. Okay. Open your eyes and see your new family room.
Wow.
Well, I really like the wainscoting.
You do?
I really do.
It's different.
And the furniture needed slipcovers.
Yeah, that's denim. The big question is, what do you think about the fireplace?
You guys are going to be fixing that in a little bit. So,
Yeah, well, I just see a lot of firewood.
so, I'm going to have to leave the room now.
You're that disappointed.
Well, I'm going to have to.
Yeah, that's... Boy, she's not happy. She's really not happy.
Is there anything that you can see in the room?
I remember that so vividly. Well, first of all, he looks around the room and says, first of all, I see a lot of firewood, meaning he's literally going to burn everything they made.
Absolutely. He's going to have to because she's just barely hanging on.
And she says, I'm going to have to leave the room now. They must be from the Midwest. That was like the sweetest seething anger I've ever seen on TV. Then she leaves and they keep talking. She's just sobbing. It's so bad.
Just when
Honestly,
he
that
goes-
isn't even the worst room I've seen.
I know. I was like, lady, could we show you the hay room? Could we show
Yeah.
you the one where all the lines come together, but not really come together and all the different colors in the room? There's so many terrible ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there was. But that husband was like, she is so mad. Like, trust me, she's been mad at me, but never this mad. Like,
Here, when he says that, and then you hear the whimpering.
it's so good. It's so good. I
my
honestly think that room was upgraded. That was like a good example. Those slip covers, though, they did that on every episode because, like, you couldn't
Loved it.
afford to reupholster their ugly furniture. So they would just, like, basically sew sheets over it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
She mentions the slip covers, and Paige says very excitedly, it's denim.
Denim, like, cool. Like, oh my
Paige was
gosh.
literally holding that woman up while she
I
stood
know. I know.
there. Sorry, it's just good. I'm sorry to this woman, but I
That
love that
warmed
scene
my
so
heart.
much.
Yeah, that was fun. Okay.
So while that did not show Ty, my bad, but he becomes a big star during this time on Trading Spaces. So when ABC creates Extreme Makeover Home Edition, Ty was the obvious choice, not only to be the carpenter, but the host for this feel-good series. Now, did you remember that it's Extreme Makeover Home Edition because there was an Extreme Makeover before that? You can't forget about that, right?
Yeah, of course.
It was like some weight loss, one of those kind of shows. And
Yep.
they were like, we're just going to switch this up a little bit because they were starting to realize maybe that's not the best
This is
idea.
not cool. Yeah, not a
Yeah.
good look.
So
literally.
if you're not familiar with Extreme Makeover Home Edition, there's struggling families who suffered from something like a rare disease, being a victim of a crime, all different things. And they're a big part of their community, giving back despite their circumstances. And they may not be able to afford a home, or they needed a new one, or one that has like wheelchair access, something like that. And so they are given one on EMHE. I'm probably going to call it that because it's just a wordy
Such a big
right?
show name. Yeah.
And I'm lazy. And it's an amazing premise, right? Like I was hooked on this show. I loved it.
And the families were always so deserving.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And you just wanted to give them more.
I know.
But like you can't because they got quite a bit.
Oh my gosh. It just like kept every episode they got so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but
ABC,
wait, there's more.
Yeah. ABC was giving them all new homes free of charge, courtesy of ABC and of course the design team. The first hiccup here is that while the family is being sent away on a dream vacation, which I forgot about that, they get sent away. These new houses are being built, like ground up a lot of times, in 7 days because this is still a TV show.
Right.
So there's going to be many seasons of EMHE, but I want to show you a clip from one of the homes on the show. And this is with the Miller family. They have been sent to Disneyland during the build. Have you ever had that moment when you're leaving the house and you wonder, did I lock the door? Or worse yet, you start spiraling and you imagine all the what ifs. I used to feel that way all the time, but it wasn't until a few years ago when I heard about a break-in just a few blocks away that I realized I needed to really step up my home security game. And now I can spiral about the what ifs on things that don't matter, like reality stars, instead of the what ifs of home security. We've had Simply Safe protecting our house for the last few years now, and it's a total game changer. With Simply Safe's Fast Protect monitoring, I know within 5 seconds if something's actually up, and the lifeguards can actually speak to intruders to stop them. That's faster than a reality TV star can throw a drink. One of the things I really love the most is you're not locked into some over-the-top 90-day fiancé level contract drama. Simply Safe is actually affordable as well, less than $1 a day with no hidden fees, so it's easy to love. It's no wonder they've been named Best Home Security Systems by U.S. News and World Report for 5 years running. Whether you want to install it yourself, it really takes less than an hour, or have a professional handle it, Simply Safe is as easy as flipping channels between Chimp Crazy and The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So why wait for the drama to happen? Get Simply Safe and know your home is covered just like I did. Protect your home with 50% off a new Simply Safe system, plus a free indoor security camera when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/criminality. That's simplysafe.com/criminality. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Achieving a gorgeous grin from home isn't a total mystery with Bite Clear aligners. Just don't be surprised if all of your sleuthing friends start asking, "What's your secret?" Begin by ordering your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95. Bite Clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces. Plus, they offer flexible financing, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
Their young children both suffered with asthma, but they actually had radon in their house, which made it like a million times worse.
I remember that.
And so while the family's gone, Ty would send these videos, film these videos. And it's funny now because like now we would Zoom, but like it was just like an email video you would see on your vacation. And he sent them this for an update. And this is kind of like an idea of what the show was, like the excitement and stuff.
Blowing up the daybed and the dishwasher, that was pretty cool. But just to compare, those each had 3 sticks of dynamite. The house had over 300 sticks of dynamite.
Johnny! When you're ready, are you ready? Fire in the hole!
Thoughts, feelings?
Okay, I don't remember that.
You don't remember watching a family's entire home be exploded on national television?
It's like, it's already pretty dramatic. Do we need to, like, that seemed dangerous.
Rebecca, it's extreme.
That's true, I forgot.
Yeah. So anyway,
Oh
I just can't imagine like sitting with my kids and being like, there's your childhood memories. blown up. Yeah, it's just a lot. And while it's amazing that the team's able to make this new home for them and dozens of other people like them, there are some negatives as well as some lawsuits, of course, and we'll get into those after a quick break to hear a word from this week's sponsors. Okay, Rebecca, as we mentioned before, the Trading Spaces budget is $1,000, right? Granted, that's just for one room, but from my understanding, the people on Extreme Makeover really were not given budgets, meaning if you have a bougie designer, not Hildy, but somebody just as wacky, and they want to add a water fountain in your backyard, they can.
Wow.
Now, you wouldn't pay for the water fountain, but you would have to pay for the maintenance as well as the water bill. And so keep in mind, a lot of these people cannot afford a new home. That's why they're on this show.
Yeah.
So giving them this home that's way out of their price range, it seems great, but a lot of times this gift would turn into a nightmare. Take this Arizona couple. Yeah, Nicole and Brian Ockvath. So they, along with their 8 kids, are featured in a 2005 episode. They are given a new 5,300 square foot home that featured a carousel, a home theater, and other luxury items, all of which use a ton of power.
Oh,
so just think
my
that.
gosh.
Because of all these bells and whistles, the power bill was a ton. They end up having to take out a $405,000 loan against the house.
No.
They still struggle for years, and they are forced to sell this house below market value and have to sell off the luxury items. So great, they got this house and lived in it for a few years, but who knows how much more this truly kind of ruined their lives, at least temporarily while they're figuring this out. But they're not the only ones, Rebecca. There are tons of examples of this. And here's something that I read that one of the workers for one of the construction companies that worked with Home Makeover said. They said basically that you'd have this huge house you're building for this widowed mother with several kids. Even though the house is given to her, she can't afford it after a year or so because you've got property taxes, electricity, water, upkeep, and has to put it on the market. So owning the size, like these size of homes, is super expensive.
Of course.
But beyond people not being able to afford these quote unquote gifts, there's a reason we don't see a lot of homes built in 7 days, right? Like a 5,300 square foot home built and designed and has a carousel in it built in 7 days.
No, something's faulty.
There you go. There's a lot to be done, and that stuff needs to be done right. In order to meet this 7-day deadline, the Extreme Makeover crews sometimes left certain parts of the house unfinished.
Oh boy.
And if you think they'll just go back and fix it, well, no, because they're off to the next house to do the next home or whatever. So families are left to fix the remaining renovations. I do think ABC gave them some money to finish it, but one family's promised solar installation, and that takes away their future electricity bills. Instead, they're left with a leaky roof, a failed heating system, and unfinished insulation.
Oh my gosh.
And the family's responsible for organizing and paying to repair the damages. So imagine some of these are like a war veteran comes back. He has no legs. They have a wheelchair. He can't work. The wife is having to take care of him. And now you have to worry about things that weren't even a problem before.
Right.
It's just, Beyond just houses, they did a few more community projects, like restoring a high school that was damaged in Hurricane Rita. They chose crazy paint colors, which whatever, they're redoing it. So Hildy might have gotten in there a little bit. But they redid a quad on campus. It was just dirt, and they put a pond and tiles, which is great. But again, upkeep just really wasn't possible. And according to some BuzzFeed commenter on an article about all of this who may have gone to the school, they said, quote, "It was cool, but hard to maintain. As everyone mentioned in their experiences, they did a half blank job. It's like that meme of Homer Simpson looking fit, but he's holding back his skin with a bunch of large clips." And that's such a great visual.
Yeah. Smoke and mirrors.
Rebecca, it does get worse. If you want some ick, I've got some for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's an email that goes out where the network is basically sending their wish list of people they want on the show in the future, for people to look out for this as they're casting a new season. So I think this is an internal memo that somebody said, this is not good. Let's release it.
Oh, no.
Here's what it says. As we begin to cast a new season for Extreme Makeover Home Edition, we also begin to look for stories of families who are trying to overcome adversity, but just need a little help, especially with their home! We are open to any and all story ideas and are especially looking for the following. Here's the following.
Oh, no.
1. Extraordinary mom or dad recently diagnosed with ALS. 2. Family who has child with progeria, aka little old man disease. 3. Congenital insensitivity to pain with anardosis, I don't know how to say that word, referred to as CIPA by the few people who know about it. There are 17 known cases in U.S. Let me know if one is in your town! ! This is where kids cannot feel any physical pain. 4. Muscular dystrophy. Amazing kid who is changing people's views about MD. Mad or drunk driving. Family turns tragedy into triumph after losing a child to drunk driving. And honestly, the list goes on and on. Like, there's like
so
5 or 6
specific.
more. It's very specific. And it just kind of feels icky. Like, it's, I don't know. Like, I understand they want to showcase a lot of different people and help different varieties. But there's something just with the tone of the email that was just like, ooh. Like, I don't know if you want to say that.
Yeah, and the exclamation points and excitement in juxtaposition to these like very difficult challenges. And I understand they're trying to do something nice, but it's very weird. The specificity of it is like giving me weird feelings.
Let me know if quote unquote one is in your town. Exclamation point.
Yeah, there's only 17. Do you know one? Like, who's got the golden ticket?
Oh my gosh, full Willy Wonka in that statement.
Yeah,
I agree.
Whole factory's going crazy.
Yeah. So of course this is looked as being as insensitive as it was, and they received flack for it. But despite that, people continued to defend the show, including Ty. He said in response to this, and really the bills that came after people began living in this home, that, you know, the network can't protect against financial disasters that happened after the cameras were down, which I agree with. You can't. And he reminded people that while he was host, they helped over 200 families. But still, I'm like, buddy, there were several that it did not end up helping. And I said there, while he was host, because he was host for the whole time, right? No, he wasn't, but we'll find out more about that. I really do think Home Makeover did some good, despite things they absolutely dropped the ball on. I remember this episode in particular, and these are the little things in the show that I really loved.
JT, he cannot have enough animals around.
Oh my gosh, it's a jungle. Look up there. What's that say?
GTU.
JT loves animals. The look on his face was precious.
What does that do? Push the button. What is that?
The lion. There's a lion.
Jamie, who relies on sound now, can experience the room with his son JT. They can listen to animal noises together.
We'll have a blast.
It's pretty much going to be a zoo in there every day.
Whoa. It's super cute.
So I love that they, you know, the dad is unable to see, and so him and his son can connect, have all these animal noises, which would be a lot, but like that's just something they can have together. Those are the little things in the show I really did love,
so
like
special.
these small details. And so as I mentioned before, eventually there are other hosts, but we aren't done with Ty, Move That Bus, Pennington just yet. And so let's get a little bit more into what was going on into Ty's life during his heyday on Extreme Makeover. So in 2004, Ty ends up starting his own line of outdoor furniture and goods, which were available at Sears. Do you remember that? Like, he was on all their commercials and stuff. In 2017, Sears closes a lot of locations. The partnership ends, but you can still get products of his at home.com if you're dying for some Ty furniture. Maybe I'll get it. Maybe I will. In 2007, though, Ty finds himself in legal trouble with his own issues. On May 5th, 2007, he's pulled over in LA on suspicion of DUI.
Yeah.
And according to TMZ at the time he's pulled over, he had a blood alcohol level of 0.14, which is almost double California's legal limit.
Yikes.
Yeah. So he's arrested, but he's released after paying $5,000 bail. He faced up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine if convicted. We know that in California, or at least in LA, it seems like they are way too busy, and he was never probably going to spend any time in there, just from other episodes we've done.
Yep.
But he did decide to plead no contest to the DUI charges. He's ordered to complete 3 years of probation, 3 months of alcohol education. He also has his driving privileges suspended for 90 days. And I think this was a good one. He had to attend a MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, impact panel, as well as pay a $390 fine. So as you can imagine, for the guy who's out there helping people that are affected by things like DUIs and, you know, have lost family members, this is a big hit.
Not a good look.
Yeah. I will say I felt like he did seem to understand the weight of this, or he had a really good PR person. During this interview, he releases this lengthy statement, in part saying he's embarrassed by the lapse of judgment, and he apologizes to, the fans, ABC Television, and the design team. And he said, quote, "Under no circumstances should anyone consume alcohol while driving," which I didn't know he was drinking.
Wait, while driving?
Literally drinking it. Yeah. I was like, okay.
Like drinking and driving simultaneously.
Literally, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He said, quote, "I could have jeopardized the lives of others, and I'm grateful there was no accident or harm done to anyone. This was my huge wake-up call," end quote.
Wow.
Which I must say is better than anything Shannon Bedore or Karen Huger have said recently.
Just own it. I mean, and even if you're still grappling with it personally, like say those words and then go and meet with your friends and family in therapy and like work stuff out, right?
The Karen Huger one really upset me because it was very much like Mother's Day is coming up. My mom died several years ago, which of course those would be upsetting things, but
no,
it feels like an excuse and not a, but you know what I mean? Like it's like you're just reaching for something.
Am I remembering it wrong that this wasn't like the first time with her?
She's had a couple, I think. Yeah.
Not good.
So, later that same year, Ty faces more legal charges when an art gallery owner files a $4 million lawsuit against him. Ooh. And his girlfriend at the time, Andrea Bach. By the way, Andrea Bach, he dated this woman for like 20 years. She was his manager. They never get married, but I'll come back to when he does get married.
So he's still available is what you're saying.
Unfortunately, no. Trust me. I've done the Googling. Just kidding. Melissa Ross is the gallery owner. You never trust a Melissa. And she makes a deal with Ty to display his furniture in her gallery. So he has this line of furniture, which I also love this. It's called Art Design Home Decor. Now, maybe not my favorite name, but it stands for ADHD.
Did he do that on purpose?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
His whole thing is like, he's very passionate about, I mean, he's definitely struggled with having ADHD. Yeah. And it's become part of his brand, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'm glad you shared the acronym because otherwise it sounds like he just picked like artsy design words and put them together like pre-chat GPT.
So the issue was, according to Melissa, Ty's items were going to be featured with other artists, but Ty tells her, no, only my furniture can be shown in this gallery, which doesn't sound like a crazy thing that like, or it sounds like something that could have happened, to be quite honest. Like a designer, famous guy doing that.
Yeah, it's like an exhibit. I mean,
yeah,
just for him.
Enough. Yeah, but I think that was never going to be the thing. And then at the last minute, he was like, nope, only mine. You have to put all that. That was kind of the issue. So by November, the same lawsuit is dismissed. His spokesperson said to TMZ, "It's nothing more than a nuisance suit. Anyone with $320 can file a lawsuit. This suit has no merit," which is how I learned that lawsuits only cost $320 to file.
Same here. I'm today years old, and that explains why we talk about them every episode. And
I know.
People are just so dang lawsuit happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even though Extreme Makeover Home Edition broke my heart by using the song Fix You by Coldplay in one of their promos, and now I can't hear the song without getting teary-eyed, and I'm not kidding you. That's like a real thing.
I actually play that song if I want to cry, if I want a good cry. I love that song.
Well, now imagine like a kid without a leg running towards a house.
They use that song. I mean, it works, but
and it was very literal. I never realized that until today. Yeah. They hurt me again, though, by canceling Extreme Makeover Home Edition in 2011, even after they won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Reality Program in 2005.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently their numbers were down, and they had moved it from Sundays to Friday nights, which, no, that's a terrible idea. Of course it tanked after that.
Yeah, especially a show like that. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's a Sunday night family watch.
Totally.
For sure. But just a few years later, in everyone's favorite year, 2020, the show is rebooted. This time, it goes to HGTV, which makes sense, really. Yeah. This time without Ty. Any guesses as to who the host was?
Yes. No, I forgot. I'll know the minute you say it.
Okay, 3 names. Modern Family, redhead, Jesse Tyler Ferguson.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah?
I don't know. On the show, I haven't seen him do this.
I haven't either. It seems like a strange choice to me. I just don't think of him in terms of design or like being especially like good with people. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that could just be based on the character from Modern Family.
True.
But didn't Modern Family cast make some like historical salary, like so much money? Like it's kind of a weird gig for someone who doesn't seem to need the money. Like what?
I do not get it. But to be fair, I didn't watch him as the host, so maybe he does have a bigger connection. But I didn't get it.
Yeah. Okay.
As you can imagine, though, Ty was surprised that, they're rebooting it, didn't ask him back, and he admitted that his ego took a huge punch, which I also appreciate that you can say this.
Yeah.
And now I feel like you're awing me, like, to make me feel
pandering. No, I like that he's honest.
Yeah, I do too. So this season is filmed barely before the pandemic really hits. And while Ty isn't a host, he does come back as a special guest.
Oh.
And he said after that it was bittersweet and posted on Instagram, quote, "I have to say, watching somebody else do my job really made me appreciate the incredible opportunity I was given back in the day." And then this line, "And how lucky I was that it came so naturally to me." And how much I love being a part of the amazing team. Now, granted, he might not have meant it shady, but I did love.
I mean, he could plausible deniability, but
absolutely,
he might have built that in. That's pretty funny.
I thought, it's a written one. It's not like you said it. You got to think about that and read it a few times before you posted it.
Exactly. That's great.
Yeah. So this time on HGTV, they are not covering the prices of the houses. So I'm a little confused on what HGTV thought they were giving people. They did, however, say they wanted to help the family work with practicality and organization and functionality so families could grow into the home and it not be a burden. So that's where I think the first iteration missed the mark. They were just like, "You like the color blue? Let's go crazy. Blueberries on the wall."
Yeah.
And this one, it was like, okay, you have a child in a wheelchair. How do we, like, everything was very, like, it would grow with them. Extreme Makeover Home Edition, as soon as I saw a clip where a kid liked police officers and they made his closet into a jail cell. Like, that's not going to last that long.
Stop. Oh my gosh. That's terrible. Yeah, it seems like, and I didn't think this at the time with that show, because I guess I just wasn't like an old enough adult, but it was very short-sighted, like to not think through the end of the burden you could be leaving the family. So it makes sense that in 2020 they've like modified it to be something more practical.
For sure. And that was like that. Every quote I saw about this was basically like, we want them to be able to stay there and to be able to live there and grow there. And I think that's great. That's very noble, I think.
But is there still the extreme element, and do they still move the bus?
I got to be honest. I didn't even watch it.
I didn't even know it was rebooted, honestly.
There's no way Jesse Tyler Ferguson screamed to move that
bus. No, I don't
Not
see
with
it.
the bullhorn. I can guarantee that.
No.
And I'm not sure if it was canceled or just paused because of the pandemic, but in 2023, the show reboots again. This time, back to ABC. And with new host. Any guesses on these hosts? Now, this is two ladies, and think organization. You don't have to know their names.
Is it the Home Edit Girls?
It is. It's the Home Edit ladies. Yeah.
They're great. Yeah.
I think so,
That's
too.
a great fit.
I thought so, too. I was like, now this one makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah. And so this season will premiere in 2024. We just don't have
Good for
a
them.
date. I thought that was
they had
really...
a Netflix show, too.
They
I don't know if that's still on, but...
I don't either. Now, Rebecca, don't cry in your pine for Ty. He's stayed busy during and since then. Hold on, did my joke not land? Pine, wood, don't cry in your pie, pine wood? Is that how the saying
pie
is
an expression? Don't cry in your pie?
What is the expression?
I don't know.
Don't cry in your pie. Hold on, I gotta look at this.
Don't cry. I've never heard it, but we had this chat about other expressions that were regional.
Yes, cry in your pie. Oh, no. I have bad news. It might just be from Arrested Development.
I don't even remember it from that show, but I definitely have never heard that before.
Oh,
but wait, what was the one that was so telling of like growing up in the Northeast in Florida? It was like two different ways of saying the same thing.
Oh, yeah. No telling. Probably involved.
I remember. If you hang out at a barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. And you said something about like farm animals.
Probably. That makes sense.
Go on.
Yeah. So that's an Arrested Development thing, apparently. So no wonder no one got that. Don't cry in your pine for Ty or Tobias. He's stayed very busy since then. In 2019, he writes a book titled Life at the Extreme, How a Chaotic Kid Became America's Favorite Carpenter.
Aww.
I'll allow it. I think that was a pretty good one,
That's
right?
a great, I love the subtitle.
Me too. So he also returned to Trading Spaces for a series reboot. I did not see that. Oof. Also appeared on other HGTV shows like Battle on the Beach. Never heard of it.
Nope.
Hometown Kickstart.
What?
Rock the Block.
Nope.
In 2020, he also launched a show called Tiebreaker, which feels very Tori Spelling, where Ty helps families decide whether they should revamp their current property or renovate it to a new one that will better fit their needs. Or renovate a new one that will better fit their needs. So either like,
it's like
is
love
this
it or
worth
list
fixing
it,
up?
but yeah.
Yeah, but it's called Tiebreaker. And he apparently wants people to fix the homes and everybody else wants them to not. I don't know. I didn't stay on the page a long time. In 2021, Ty also married his girlfriend, Keely Morrell. Okay. And remember I said he was with his agent for 20 years. He breaks up with her and marries this lady pretty quickly. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. When you find love, you know it's there.
When you know, you know.
Yeah, there you go. And a good reminder from Ty to end this story with. So Ty posted on Instagram, which is apparently his social media platform of choice. Mm-hmm. He said back in July, this was last year, he went to the Barbie premiere and he said this a few days later. I had this abscess in my throat and I woke up and I couldn't breathe. I drove down the mountain to the hospital. He lives in Colorado. And I'm just like, hey, can you give me a steroid to help shrink the swelling? And the doctor goes, what if it's more than that? What if you close up and can't breathe? And I'm like, oh my gosh. He's like, I think we need to fly you to Denver. And I wake up and I have a tube in my throat. Apparently, he's intubated, has surgery, is in the ICU, and is then released. And posted a picture of him being intubated, by the way.
Where did the Barbie movie fit in?
It was his post. His post says, what a weird week or something like that. And he's like, I was on the red carpet for the Barbie premiere. Didn't say where. And then like 2 days later, he's intubated in the hospital. I loved it because every article is like, from Barbie premiere to this. And I'm like, but how did he get there? That's weird. It was very weird. Yeah, he is, but like scary. Mm-hmm. But I like this quote. This is really where I wanted to end. He said, not just like, he almost died. But I like this quote. It's quote, it made me realize you just don't know when your time card's going to get pulled. So wake up, live every single day to the fullest. And here's the part about 60s. I mean, that's why the 60s, it's going to be like time to start doing everything. And that's what I love about being part of these projects, because I think we all want to make sure we've done things to be remembered. Agree. But the man's in the 60s, and I think that's really, or like almost in his 60s. And I think that's where I pulled this
you
quote.
should settle down because he could still be, you're still young enough that he could be your dad. He could be your young dad.
Please don't
Sorry
say
to
that.
change that fantasy for you.
That gets real gross real fast.
But he couldn't be my dad. I mean, technically he could.
He could technically
be my
technically
teen dad. But no, you're very young, but 60?
19. He would be 19. He'd be 19 because he's 59 right now. Teen dad. Hashtag teen dad. Never forget.
Wait, for who? You.
Me. He'd be
I
19.
know. Okay, well,
That's
he'd be
a
a teen dad, but that's an adult.
Okay, Rebecca.
Just saying.
Is just
I don't
just
know
let
how we
me
got
be
here.
attracted to my teen dad.
Teen dad?
Not teen dad.
Yeah,
let me be attracted to America's favorite carpenter.
On that, yeah, that makes sense. And I do see how people were, but I have to tell you, when that clip of him that we saw,
so
the soul patch, I think that was it. It's like the little goatee on the chin.
Yeah.
It's the spiky hair. He doesn't look like he used sunblock, and he seems like an outdoorsy guy.
Okay, that's another thing I was going to say. There's a picture, and I did not send it to you, but if you Google him right after he comes out of the hospital, the man was never given an SPF.
No.
When I saw that picture, I was like, he's turning 60, and I had to let it go. And also,
just use sunscreen, people.
I know, but like 59 is a little late. Like at that point, Rolo.
Oh, I know, but
YOLO,
I mean, when you're
not Rolo.
25, like we all learned this, like in the early 2000s.
I know that, but not him. He was doing soul patches, and I don't know what else he was doing. But anyway, that's the story of Ty Pennington, and
so
maybe
much-
the most chaotic story I've ever told, just because
No.
of me.
No, it definitely wasn't. I hate to say. I don't have on tap like which was, but it wasn't that one.
It was Scott's Tap. I know it was. And I'll
That's
never,
true.
I'll
There
never
it is.
live it down.
There it is.
Oh, thank you. Okay, this is a terrible time to say this. Thank you, Elizabeth Atwood, for helping me with the research on this. Rebecca knows that I've had, like, my son is in therapy every day, and it's been a lot. And so we wanted to keep the show going, and I've been having help with research, which is awesome.
Amazing.
She made this so easy for me. I screwed it up, but she did a lot of great work.
No, you
and
didn't.
It was awesome.
I really enjoyed that, and I'm really happy because I thought maybe there was parts of the story I didn't know where he got like really badly into addiction. So I'm just so pleased to know that he didn't, or that at least we don't, not that we know of. I'm glad that was a wake up call. Sounds like maybe he really did kind of change course. So
I agree.
That's refreshing.
Listen, I started this whole show I started on this show doing douchebags galore. Oh,
I remember you had a real run there.
Yeah, I'm still probably in that phase, but so it's nice to highlight a less.
Seems like a decent dude.
Decent dude is great.
I'm not going to give him winsome.
No. Don't give him winsome.
But I'm going to give him decent dude.
He's edging on winsome, maybe. Yeah. To me, in my heart.
We should make a douche to winsome like scale, like a pendulum.
Oh, I thought you meant like merch. I was like, I can't wear that out in public.
No, just like a little figure that we can like place people on. Like a sliding scale.
3 years later, yes, this is a great idea. Someone help us, please.
Yeah, please. Can someone do that? Can someone do everything for us except like be on the mic? Just everything else.
Yeah.
We're falling apart.
Yeah.
So
anyway, that
was
the
great.
episode.
I so enjoyed that. And you know who else I liked on Trading Spaces was Lori, the curly redhead. I thought she did nice rooms.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She was real classy.
Well, we needed a class somewhere. And truly, Hildy's like living in France, just like truly living in luxury.
She's like, it's like it never happened.
Ruined families, ruined neighbors, ruined friendships. Truly, I read articles about people being like, I couldn't look at her after this.
In a pile of hay and was like, bonjour. I mean, au revoir. I'm out of here.
Exactly.
Amazing.
So anyway.
Well, that was fun.
Good. I'm glad. Rebecca, I have talked way too much and I'm clearly cycling through something right now. I would love to know what you're watching. Besides The Valley.
I think you watched it. I feel like you and Mandy talked about it maybe on Moms and Mysteries. And it's not particularly fun, but this is what I watched. You now already know.
It's the
Slime
Nickelodeon thing. Yeah.
So the Max
Quiet on Set
3-episode series, Quiet on Set, about kind of the underbelly dark side of children's entertainment, specifically on the network of Nickelodeon. I think we've talked about this before. I don't see much good coming from any child being a professional actor. I've never seen it end amazing.
Right.
And this just kind of really confirms that. So you did watch it, right?
I did. Yeah. Super sad. And
it's so
terrible.
Sad and kind of much even worse than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Just full on like predators on set. And Drake Bell, the actor who was in Drake and Josh, I think.
So the shows that everybody was on were later than I was watching those
My
shows,
kids were, though.
but I knew of them.
Yeah, and your kids were probably too little or not yet born. My kids watched those, especially actually the ones they kind of more at the tail end, like the guy that ended up being convicted of horrible things ended up getting voiceover work on Sweet Life with Zach and Cody, which Gabe was super into.
Yeah.
My youngest. So just super dark. But I thought it was really well done. And I loved hearing from these more kind of side characters who aren't the people, like they're not Amanda Bynes. They're not the girl who plays iCarly, I forget her name, or Jeanette McCurdy, but they're kind of these more supporting characters and their experiences. So they served as kind of the sort of quasi-narrators, and thought it was really well done. If you're interested in that and you grew up on those shows or your kids did, you'll probably find it really interesting, but it's, trigger warning, just full of like sexual abuse and sexual harassment in the workplace and just,
oh my gosh,
so bad.
Okay, this is like not the worst thing that happened on there, but the two women having to share a salary was just a wild thing to hear right from the get-go, where I'm like, are you kidding me?
And I know, it was just appalling. absolutely appalling.
But truly not the worst thing to happen. Like
no, by the end you're like,
it's child's play by the end.
And they know that too because of the whole circumstance around that set, and those shows was just so dark. My gosh. And Amanda Bynes, Lord have mercy.
Gosh.
Like, it's just so sad.
It's so sad.
She was such a star and so talented. And anyway, so that's what I watched. And then that's why I really, enjoy all the Bravo shows, because it's just...
Yeah. I know you really do have to get into something else right after that. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough
so,
out there.
Yeah, we've got the Valley. Vanderpump has picked up, I felt.
Yeah.
So
Summer House.
Summer House is freaking amazing this season. I'm
So
so into West.
I know.
Also, I shipped Sierra and West, and I haven't seen anyone say this. I'm sure someone has.
Wait.
See West.
Oh. But,
shipped to them.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be cute?
It is, but I
don't
got
think they're
thrown by
together.
you saying you shipped them.
Shipped. Made their relationship name?
Oh, I didn't know that's what that was. Oh my gosh. Every time you say that you're older than me, you have to remember, I don't know what anybody says. I don't know
but I never know. You always know because you're on TikTok. So this,
true.
I just happen to know. But when you ship someone, it's that name combo. So
I didn't know that was it. I thought it just meant you liked the person.
No, when you ship two people, it's creating their little relationship entity.
Like Brangelina. Which
Correct.
also shows our
Tomcat.
age.
Exactly.
Tomcat. Oh my gosh.
Remember Tomcat? But yes,
I remember where I was when I found out that Surrey Cruise was born. That's a vivid memory for me for some reason.
That's weird. But
ask me
also
my kid's first word. I have no idea.
It was Dada. Let's just be honest. What are you watching?
Okay. 3 clues. I'm releasing everyone from the pressure of this one. Cowboy, Peacock, Joe Millionaire. It's not Joe Millionaire, but it's adjacent to Joe
what
Millionaire.
is it?
Okay. It's called The McBee Dynasty, Real American Cowboys. To be fair, I only watched this because I heard about it on the podcast Sup, Sexy Unique Podcast. I love that show.
Yeah.
And somebody wrote in and was like, you guys should watch this show. So
really?
Yeah. So there was a new season of Joe Millionaire a few years ago. Had 2 bachelors. One of them is this guy named Stephen McBee, and he's from Gallatin, Missouri. So the idea is the McBees. It's a dad, his 4 kids. They have this huge ranch, which they have to be in incredible debt because the whole premise of the first season is will we get this $100 million loan? If not, none of us can eat. That kind of thing. They're always talking about it, but they spend a lot of money, so I don't really feel that bad for them.
Where is it?
It's in Missouri, actually.
Oh, sorry, you said that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So the way it's kind of shown, and the reason it kind of even was created, I think, is because they called it Yellowstone meets Succession. So who's going to take over their dad's thing?
Fun.
And Yellowstone's been a huge deal. I haven't ventured into that way, but I know that. And here's a quote. It wastes no time bringing viewers into the McBee's family's wildly chaotic life, focusing on the daily life and nightlife of the family behind their Missouri ranch and cattle farm. It ends up being one son that I kind of like.
Okay.
They're all trash. The dad is the most trash. He is dating his CEO of the company, this Russian lady named Galina, and has a side piece, which is what he calls her and what she calls herself. They're featured on the show. And then this other girlfriend ends up wrecking the actual girlfriend's car. It's wild. They're so messy. But not likable. Not likable at all.
Really fun to watch or no? Do you think
watch the first episode.
Okay.
If it doesn't get you in by the first episode, don't watch anymore because it's not going to get better. But it is hard to watch, and they all have the same mouth. And you know how genetics are strong everywhere, but for some reason you'll see them all make a specific face and you're like, aha, I know who your father is.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But don't watch it.
Okay. So that is reminding me of the other thing I watched.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Succession and faces looking like genetics being strong, it's so boring. And I think I did this last
so boring
year on this show for the first season, Buying Beverly Hills, Mauricio's show on Netflix. It's so boring. It's so bad. I had a really bad day yesterday and I kind of wanted to like torture myself.
Yeah, you're like,
so I
let's
put
make
it on.
Worse.
Yeah. And I like wanted to add insult to injury. So I watched like while doing work on my laptop. And Kyle's 3 daughters, like Portia's not in it. So it's the older 3.
Alexa, and I don't know the others.
Alexia.
Oh, my bad.
Sophia and Farah. And they are all different versions of Kyle. Like one looks just like her, one sounds just like her, one says things just like her. So at any given time, I am sure Kyle's in a scene. It's like they have none of Mauricio's genetics. I know the oldest one doesn't because it's actually from her previous marriage, but the other 2, like it's just they're Kyle. It's so weird. But also Succession, I feel like Buying Beverly Hills was pitched. I feel like internally they were like, this is like a female Succession in like the reality space, because they're trying to make it a story of like which of the girls could be the next CEO if and when Mauricio ever wanted to give it up. I'm like, this dude is so far from retirement. These girls
Have you not
are
seen him dancing in Aspen, guys?
Right. Like these girls are so far from being able to run a company. I mean, they're doing fine, but anyway, it's so bad. It's so bad.
I've watched several TikToks of like clips, but even from that, where it's like, it's getting juicy, I'm like, not interested.
It's not getting juicy. There's nothing juicy about it. I mean, yes, they had like the family breakup talk, which we didn't get on Beverly Hills. They, for some reason, put it in the first season, the first episode of Buying Beverly Hills. But other than that, it's a real snooze fest.
Okay, well,
but
all we're telling you is stuff
fully
not to
watched
watch
it.
today.
I know. I watched almost the whole season in a day.
I can't commit. I don't want to do it.
Don't
have a bad day.
Yeah, unless you feel like you need to punish yourself. And maybe if I do again, I will watch the Cowboy Show. We'll see.
Oof, you will really regret the day you do that.
Jeez, it's crazy how much there is to watch. One of our listeners did comment that there's a new season of Farmer Wants a Wife.
Oh, really?
In Denmark, I think she said, is the new country. And I was kind of like, ooh, I love Denmark.
Also, somebody said something about the new Army Hammer thing. I saw that commercial. Well, it was on TikTok, and I was like, what is happening here?
Wait, what is that?
It's like Army Hammer's ex-wife has a show.
Yes. Okay, I was just making sure we're talking about the same thing. And
it looks like Club Lohan. I could not figure out I'm like, it's very brief that she's like, my life got upended. And then she's like, here I am living here. I'm like, did he eat people or not? That's what I want to know.
That's all just, I know, cut to the chase.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, we'll be watching that, I'm sure. I will, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, we listened to Tori Spelling's first podcast episode, so.
Okay, Rebecca, thank you for telling me about that. I did not know it existed, and I did post it on our Instagram to make sure other people knew it existed. It's terrible. It's not edited. It can't be edited. Nobody edited it.
It is a stream of consciousness from start to finish.
And from somebody's stream who just does not go both ways.
Is she conscious? I'm not sure. She's so unhinged. And there are times where she's like, well, I'm not going to tell you what the fight was about and blah, blah, blah. You know what? I'm going to tell you what the fight is about. Who cares? And I'm just like, there is no one twisting your arm. There's no one sitting on the edge of their seat. Like you are it's alarming.
It is alarming, and I'm
help.
so thankful. It took 15 minutes before you hear that there's another voice in there, and then at some point she's like, "And all my friends are here." I'm like, "What is happening?" Like,
and there's that part where they all say like, "You're not crazy," or like, "We love working for you," and she's like, "Oh, you guys just have to say that."
It was so good. I literally am just waiting for the next one. I cannot wait. I'm afraid he's gonna like send her a cease and desist or something over their divorce, and so she won't be able to say anything. So like, more. Give us all of them now.
Just telling us on the podcast how traumatized her kids are about their parents' marriage breaking up and getting bullied for it in school. And then she just, divulges everything about the divorce on the podcast.
I blacked out during part of it. And Rebecca sent me a text that said something about dog poop because that's a huge part of their life.
It's a through line. Yeah.
And it's the first night they met and dog poop is involved. And
she has no problem telling us about this. Like
I was humiliated for her.
Yeah, if it wasn't her and it wasn't dog poop, it'd be admirable. Like the way Ty Pennington admitted he's hurt, that he wasn't chosen. It's like, I respect the honesty and the vulnerability. This is not that.
No. This is like you push this way down. Your
Yeah, she
therapist
also
doesn't know about this.
Push the
Nobody.
dog poop aside so they could like make out on a bed. I mean, speaking of pushing things down, like disgusting.
I don't clean it up. So, I mean, I do now, but I didn't then. But actually, I don't. And I don't cook and I don't clean. But my mom taught me this recipe and I don't clean still, but I do cook. What?
She's full of it. Also, like we ordered Wendy's, but then she made the perfect baked potato to eat that night. But they were
That's what I'm saying. She said Candy Spelling helped her make it.
Didn't make sense. Math ain't mathin'.
I think we should have a Tori Spelling.
The spells ain't spelling. The words ain't spelling. Wait, you think we should have what?
A Tori Spelling recap podcast.
I kind of want to, but I'm so afraid she's going to do 3 episodes and bail because she's going to realize like it's actually for her not work.
She's been doing that 9021 OMG with Jenny Garth for a while now.
Oh, they're still doing that. Oh, okay. So
I know.
That's right. I forgot. Okay. Then yeah, let's do a Tori recap because I could talk about that forever.
Okay.
Okay, well, if we did a Patreon, would you guys listen? Would you guys pay to hear us talk about Tori Spelling? I would pay to be able to.
I need to process this, though. It's been a lot.
I do, too. No, that was a start to finish experience. Truly, tune in, you guys.
I need it to be top of the charts. Yeah. I loved it so much. I'm going to leave a good review because I need her to be encouraged and to not slow down.
I don't think I can write any words, but I'll hit a 5 stars for sure.
Oh, yeah. For sure. We support our girl Tori.
Absolutely. Well, we just support, we're just podcasters supporting podcasters.
I support women. So unlike Bethany, if she ends up on Bethany's podcast,
no,
I'll lose it.
No. Well,
think about it.
I could see it.
Mm-hmm. Reality TV ruined her family.
I think you are onto something.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so mad at Bethany. Okay.
We need everyone. Let's finish. Okay.
We're spiraling.
Rebecca, I know. Oh. We'll be back in 2 weeks, but Rebecca, what are your clues?
Pretty excited about this one.
Okay. Me too.
Remember when you said you would have to have a year in advance to get excited about a tattoo person being at a party?
Yes.
I picked these while we were on mic before we started tonight. So, we're different.
We got it.
Together we balance. 3 clues for next episode. We're gonna stay in the TLC.
I'm so proud of you.
Already got that logo ready for the clue post. Cult, because girl can't help herself. Multiples.
Okay. I know what this is, and it's truly the best day of my life. I will not be watching Buying Beverly Hills anytime soon because I'm just going to be on a high waiting for this to come out.
Yeah, you won't need to. I'm excited. So looking forward to sharing this episode in 2 weeks. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can follow us on @Criminality Show on Instagram.
Yeah, and you can leave us a 5-star review. We're leaving Tori one. We definitely deserve one.
Just for that. Give us one. Write some nice words about how we're supporting our girl Tori.
Please don't write that. Just anything else.
That would be amazing, actually.
I know. I agree. All right. Well, we will see you guys back in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.